15 years ago, maybe Johnny Rotten of the Sex Pistols was the most over the top, or, you know, and then when Kronos came out, he was pretty over the top, and Tom Warrior, whoever, or Lemmy, I mean, when he first came out, you know, but yeah, and everybody, you know, as things go on, people try and get more over the top, and you know, and I think each, you know, every so often the new singers come along that, you know, get more and more brutal, you know, whether it's Barney or, you know, John Tardy or whoever. I mean, you know, just everybody wants to say they're the brutalist, or, you know what I mean?
Napalm Death was really closely linked to Earache in the early days. Napalm Death was, you know, our third release, also the eighth one. We have these Mosh catalogue numbers, but also Carcass came out at the time, the debut Carcass album, Breed of Putrefaction. That was because of the involvement of Bill Steer, who was then the guitarist of Napalm Death. Unseen Terror was an early record we put out. That was like Shane, who later became the bass player of Napalm Death. It was like a little family of people that were into extreme grind music. I mean, literally in England at the time, there was like 12 people or something that were into this music. You know, it really was of small people that could make this music. I mean, a lot of people were into it, but the people that were the musicians to make this type of music, they were like, well, at the time it was like an experimental sound, really.
When I actually joined Napalm Death, I was a big fan of theirs. I used to go to every show, you know. I saw them about over 100 times before I actually joined. I used to go to every gig and stuff. But I mean, I was into everything. I was into extremely fast stuff and extremely slow stuff at the same time. And as that sort of scene went on and on, there's so many bands that were just incorporating that style, you know, just exact copy of Napalm Death. There's like absolutely thousands of them, you know. And the music we were playing wasn't really going anywhere else, apart from the way we started. It wasn't really, I mean, there was only so far we could go. When you're playing it in such an extreme way, we just like fell into the trap of playing to people's expectations, you know.
I really can't sum it up what we were trying to do. We just wanted to make it a bit more realistic and a bit more grown up, or something a bit more mature. I mean, we might be kids, but, you know. So that's why, because to me a gore band is someone, you know, a band that goes to see, you know, Evil Dead and then write songs about it or something. And we wanted to distance ourselves. We wanted to be sort of thinking man's death metal band, but not in the way that these bands would say the thinking man's death metal band and trying to sing about political things, because that's not death metal. I mean, death metal is about singing about death, you know. So we just wanted to make it a bit more tangible. I mean, rather than like going to see Evil Dead and writing a song about it, it'd be, you know, not that we do, but, you know, you'd see Silence of the Lambs maybe and take it into that sort of context, you know, a bit more realistic.
We don't sound anything like Obituary, and, you know, Obituary doesn't sound anything like Deicide. So I mean, it's just, you know, everyone's kind of doing their own thing, and you know, there's like a level of respect. I mean, whether or not people actually are really into their other people's stuff. I mean, you know, I know that everyone works really hard to do what they do, and you know, they've gained my respect, you know, simply because they've shown, you know, they've done a lot of work. You know, they work real hard.
It's the in thing now, so I look at the death metal scene nowadays, like now in '92, as the Bay Area speed metal scene was in like '84, '85. It's the way it is now. It's just everything's becoming really cluttered. There's a million bands doing it, and I've come to the conclusion that it's going to level off within the next couple of years. I think it's going to come to a peak, and the strong bands are going to survive, and the bands that are just trundling along in the thing are going to fall off and aren't going to be there anymore. It's just like that with any type of music. I think that's the way it's going to happen.
I guess nobody of us are really violent persons. Death metal has got nothing to do with that, I guess. I mean, personally, I just play death metal because I find it interesting, very interesting. I find death and life, the mysterious about life and death very interesting, and that's where the lyrics come from, and it's kind of fascinating. Take for instance heavy metal, like the heavy metal scene. You know, I know that's always been competition, and they have, you know, like heavy metal bands, like you got to be the best and stuff like that. And death metal is like the opposite to that, like a alternative to that. You know, like one big family. But that's what it started out like anyway. Now it's, well, there is competition between bands, but we don't think like that in Tune.
Our lyrics don't really express violence. I mean, they're just fantasy lyrics. They touch on a lot of different subjects like religion, afterlife, war, and things like that. But they're just pretty much stories. They kind of take a look at the dark side of life, the dark side of man, you know, the unknown side of things, you know, because we find it fascinating. I think people in general are fascinated by things they don't know, you know, by the unknown side of things. And that's pretty much what it is. It's just all fantasy stories. And the music is definitely, the vocals are really deep, and the music is low, and the guitars are tuned low and stuff, but that all is there to create like an atmosphere. It creates like a whole tone for the music, like a whole mood. So.
We are a thrash metal band, but it's not only thrash metal. We try to put different influences in the music. It's not like we're only listening to the newest thrash releases, and you know, every day we're listening to a lot of good thrash and a lot of good death metal still. And but we're not only listening to it, and we don't want to be influenced by this kind of shit. I mean, otherwise we would go in circles. We would turn around in circles if we would copy. I mean, if we would be influenced by the new Voivod or by the new whatever, you know, it wouldn't help.
On est des êtres normaux, quoi. Dans la vie de tous les jours, on n'a pas d'attirance spécialement macabre. On va pas aller faire des messes noires. Enfin, on vit comme tout le monde, quoi. Mais ce qui est évident, c'est que dans ce qu'on veut faire passer, il y a quelque chose de très malsain et d'assez oppressant et macabre, quoi. Mais à la limite, la question qu'il faut se poser, c'est pourquoi l'être humain est attiré vers ce genre d'émotions, tout simplement. Et voilà, je crois que ça résume un peu notre démarche, quoi. On a quelque chose, une émotion très, très malsaine à faire passer, mais on a aussi des personnes qui sont là pour l'écouter, quoi.
Factory came from Brazil. I think it's a really strong point of the music we do. It really affects that all the violence and all the bad stuff that happened in our country, and we really felt that hard in our lives, and we try to express that in our music. I think that's why a lot of bands like death metal and hardcore thrash metal are more popular than other styles of metal in Brazil. I really believe that's because of the way we live. It's violent music for violent time.
Masters of Brutality 2, le retour du métal ultime, Napalm Death, Cannibal Corpse, Bolt Thrower, Paradise Lost et Nocturnus, aux côtés des plus féroces représentants de la nouvelle génération death metal. Masters of Brutality 2, 75 minutes avec les groupes les plus violents du monde.